Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Show Films. I'm Sen, your executive producer here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I particularly want to thank our $25 tier supporters over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms. Those being Samantha Bates, Trevian Alexander, Cat Waterflame, and Elle. Without whom we would be able to do nearly as much of things we do now. So thank you very much for your support over the years. And those of you that are watching live, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stardust RPG on Trails of Stardust. I am William Shawnee, and I am your game master for this 5th edition campaign. And joining me today, we have Sen.
I'm Sen, and I'm playing Koltar, the orc Master Maker, Artificer, Master Maker, Gadgeteer, also inventor of large mechanical things with punchy fists.
And Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I am playing Kendall Fairchild, Eladrin Rich Girl Warlock.
And Holly.
I'm Holly. I'm playing Mistel and Varn Rogue.
And Jack the Second.
I am Jack the Second, and I am playing Surprise, quirky, ethereal sorcerer.
And Craig.
Hi, I'm playing Bees, a swarm of nocturne and torch bees that collectively form a Swarmkeeper Ranger.
And Jack the Elder.
Hey everybody, I'm also a Jack. I am playing Till Wayland, an avian Way of the Iron Path monk, and also portraying potentially the 5th Summers brother. Yep, I saw Jeremy's shirt.
And as always, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights.
Happy Pride!
The rich. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month to all our fellow queer goers.
Yep.
Also a reminder that Final Show Films is majority queer. And this stream is powered by Sirenscape. As I turn the music on.
So what we're really saying is this is not so much Pride Month as it is Final Show Films Month.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we're saying is there's a significant overlap between the two events.
Or to put alternately, unlike most corporations, we did not become significantly more queer today than we were yesterday.
Final Show Films, queer all year.
That's actually really good.
Wow,
like that.
we have a
That's
tagline.
really
We have an
good.
official company.
Can we get that on a t-shirt?
That's what I was going to say. We need shirts.
I will put
I
it
will
on a
wear the
shirt.
heck out of that.
I
Hell
will
yeah.
put it on a shirt. And if
Holy
everyone pre-orders
shit.
it, we'll get them.
You put up the pre-order. I will click that shit faster than
Oh, here I go.
We now have
Designing a
Pride merch.
t-shirt while we're in the middle of the street.
fantastic.
So
Yeah,
Koltar
use
begins
your
a design project.
Master
Okay, this-
Maker levels on a t-shirt.
All right, hold on.
This
I'm
music
gonna
was
have this
supposed to be-
conversation while I'm sewing a shirt and dyeing
Roll a
it.
d20 to see how good the shirt turns out.
This music was supposed to be coffee shop, but I'm getting more elevator music out of it. Let me find something slightly more interesting.
Koltar pulls out a screen
This is
printer
very
out of
much
nowhere.
like hold music.
Yeah, I'm getting whole music out of this.
This is like
Sirenscape
fucking...
has a wide variety.
Till walks into the basement of the ship. The bees are just all spread out, each of them with a tiny little sewing machine. Till's like, damn it, I said no child soldiers, but I don't feel better about sweatshops either.
Look, we're not going to get this many
Amazing.
t-shirts made that quickly without some sacrifices.
Without a lot of hands on deck.
It's for the cause. It's fine.
Can make an omelet without breaking a few bees.
Look, Look, when I set up this Etsy shop, I didn't expect it to take off so quickly.
Oh my god. Fantastic.
We do what we can.
But yeah, so when last we left off, the group had been setting up a conversation as Mistle had gone to retrieve Surprise and Bees for a very important conversation that was to be had. Did anyone need to do anything before that conversation began?
Yes. So, rolling back slightly to just before Mistle went to get Bees and them. I had been saving this for something of a surprise, but since it... Wow, that's a tone change.
That's well loud. I like it, but hang on. Slightly different
you
song.
guys.
Okay, there we go.
What made it even better was as that was going, I was putting up an embed for an article for work, and I clicked away and I didn't realize that the video started autoplaying. So I started hearing a voice slightly underneath it in like this semi-rhythmic tone, and I thought that this Siren Skate thing had like a rap to it,
Right.
which I was here for.
That's better.
I'm at 50% and it's still so loud.
I was at 45. It's fine. I dropped
Okay.
it down to 33.
I also turned it down on the control end.
Better. There
So-
we go.
Something I've been working on for a while, given B's interest in piloting things. And he will pull out a data pad and just hit a few things, and sort of a holographic projection of like a blueprint will appear above it. And it is this. It's initially humanoid on the top, but then where the waist starts, instead of being bipedal, it's four large, sort of like almost insect-like legs, jutting from the bottom, two arms, and then four, and this quadrupedal base, with various sort of like, technical specifications going around the image. Sorry, my children are having emotions. Okay. No. Oh, Jack. Okay, that's Jack. Sorry, that's what Jack's away for. Okay. So yeah, there's this blueprint of this, technical specifications of this mech. Obviously, is Dust Runner. I've been working on designing a Dust Runner specifically for bees, something that doesn't have any armaments initially, but could be armed later on, given the appropriate weaponry and financial support. I was surprised to learn that Bees was actually capable of financing this entire thing out of their own shell. They've been collecting credits for some time. And I actually have all the parts that I need to put it together once I find a workshop, presumably on Gilgamesh Station. So, if it would make it easier with your plans that you have, it will take some time for them to learn how to pilot it appropriately, and that may be a more easily gotten across incentive for bees than other things.
No, I think that would be very helpful. Give them an attractive project that they have expressed interest in previously, until such a time as we feel they've psychologically matured enough to make some of the more ethical decisions regarding violence and such like. But yes, no, if Bees has the necessary finances to get you what you need in order to get started on that. I don't know if you want to include them in the crafting process, but
I didn't know that there would be a way for me to not.
also reasonable. All
But
right.
yes, that's the finances on that have already been secured and everything has been transferred. So all that's left to do is acquire the materials and put them together.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure we can find most of that on Gilgamesh, and that way we can have something to occupy bees with during the downtime that we'll have as well.
If you'll excuse me,
All
I've got
right.
some t-shirts to design.
Sure. Go right ahead. Still has no idea what you're talking about.
Neither does Coltarn.
Just had an idea out of nowhere.
So, with that, eventually the meeting is called as all of you are brought into the, I believe, the bridge.
Yep, that's where we were.
Bees and Surprise arrive.
All right, a couple of topics to broach as a means of preparation. Surprise, it's been informed to me that you might be interested in considering yourself part of the Dust Knights going forward, so we have a mission to run as we investigate this derelict fleet that's drifted into the station. If you would like to effectively have an audition, I don't see why we couldn't take you along after a short briefing to give you an idea of what we're looking at. But if that's...
As long as all of you understand you're auditioning too.
No, we're not, but that's an interesting perspective that you might have on this. Bees. We've got a little bit of an alteration to your duties on board the ship.
Are we in charge of Surprise?
No.
Okay.
There's a lot about the galaxy that you don't understand. And as leader of the Dust Knights, and the person who's in charge of everybody's safety, I've decided to impose a few more rules and restrictions in order to make sure that everyone stays as safe as possible. And that includes you. Your safety is something that is important to all of us here. And so we need to make sure that you are properly educated and trained before we put you in dangerous situations. You know how with the Hydra, you couldn't see it at all at first?
Well, we could see it eventually.
Right.
How would we learn to see an invisible thing?
That's just an example. We go into dangerous situations, and while your swarm and you are used to encountering those at a certain point, we need to make sure that you are educated and developed enough to be able to handle some of those situations with more of what we call nuance. You need to have learned and developed enough to be able to handle those sort of stresses before we expose you to them again on a regular basis.
We're not
So
going
we
to
need
always.
you to-
We're not going to always be able to nod to the people that are bad for you, bees.
It's been a long time since we stung anybody without being told.
That's true. But your safety is important. And so there's going to be a period of time that's going to have to elapse before we put you back on the front lines again. Okay?
Oh, we don't mind that.
All right.
We like to stay in the
so
back and shoot people.
That was a metaphorical front lines. We're not going to have you in fights anymore until you've learned enough
What?
to be ready for it. So what we want you to do is focus on learning some less dangerous things.
No.
Bees.
We've always been fighting. We were fighting before any of you. We come from a planet that's all fights all the time.
Bees, please
This is
just
This is the least anyone has ever tried to eat us.
Bees, can you please just listen to what Tilde needs to say, okay? Just hear him out.
Okay. Doesn't mean we're going to do what he says.
Yes, it does. I'm in charge of you. Remember, we voted on that.
No.
Bees, listen, and then we can talk about it, okay?
Listening doesn't mean that we agree.
What we're going to do is you are going to be trained on some less dangerous stuff until we're sure that putting you in a fight isn't going to be unnecessarily dangerous to you or anybody else, because we need to keep you safe. All right?
But who's going to keep you all from dying if we're not there?
I am.
Yeah. There's like this sort of disjointed laughter from the swarm.
What we're going to do is, you know how you want to drive a lot of things?
Laughter quiets down. Yeah.
And you know how we said you have to pass tests and have a license for that?
We have one.
Not the one that you make for yourself.
Slightly. No, we didn't make this one. And a slightly waxy piece of paper comes out with actual writing on it. See? It says we can drive.
That's not a real license. That's just a note that says something. There's a difference. But we're going to make sure that you get the training and practice you need in order to be able to drive things. That's what you're going to be focused on, while the rest of us are going and poking around drifting ships and other missions like that. All right?
I pull up the ship while you all are gone?
No, you get to drive this, I say as I pull up the data pad and the hologram and present you with the image of the Kolnaj Malak.
Wow, it has so many legs. Almost as many as we have.
Similar to you, yes.
So many knees?
I had thought of that in the design. This is the Kolnaj Malak.
Okay, we're going to call it the bee's knees.
You can call it what you like.
But, and also, you're going to be learning some of the more important things about how ships and communications and that sort of things operates. You're going to be working closely with Koltarn. Once this mech is completed for you, you're going to be working closely with Xander to learn more about instruments and scanners and those sort of things that you'll need to understand before you drive something. Because there's a lot more to driving than just pushing buttons and steering. There's instrumentation, there's scanners,
we learned from Kendall.
Swearing is kind of a personal choice, whether you want to incorporate that into your driving or not, but that's a decision that you're going to have to make as well. Yes, you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm.
We watched Kendall drive, and it was really all pushing buttons and turning wheels and swearing.
Well, that's the thing about certain activities.
Also,
sometimes what you see going on is not everything that's going on. That's why we have instruction and teaching about it. So there's things that you don't necessarily notice right away, you learn about that are important. Mm-hmm.
Kendall, what else was going on?
I mean, there are a lot of decisions that you have to make. There's knowing what's on the road, knowing what to expect, being familiar with vehicle. The swearing is absolutely, that's just something that I do because that's what everybody what I'm from that I know does.
Very quietly to Mistle, a few of the bees say, "We're going to be honest, we really thought Kendall was going to say nothing."
She's that good. It looks like nothing.
Okay. So, Koltarn is going to be teaching us to drive the mech. Do we get to drive the mech while we learn?
Yes. You can't learn how to drive it without driving it.
Yep,
okay.
Practice is going to be important.
So, do we get to steer the ship while we're learning to steer the ship?
Steering the ship will happen, actually, yes, to an extent. I am going to be training you how to fly as well.
You know how to fly. Oh, fly ships.
Fly ships, excuse me. Yes, you know how to fly bees.
Do we get to use the comms? Do we get a comm?
Well, that's going to be built into your helmet that I'm working on for you.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay.
So while you're learning all of this new stuff, and Xander's going to be helping you with some of that as well. But once you've mastered all of that sort of thing, then we're going to have what's called an evaluation, which is when all of us sit down and talk to you and see what you're capable of. And then eventually, once we've decided that everything's already situated and you've learned enough, we're going to have you back out on the front lines eventually. I can't tell you exactly when, but eventually, all right?
Is it how many hours, though?
Many, many hours. It will take a lot of hours.
We better get started if we're going to be done before we get to the ghost ships.
Well, it's probably not. It's definitely not going to be before we get to the ghost ships. All right, this is going to take a while.
No. We get to go to the ghost ships because we get to get salvage.
We'll bring back some salvage, and once we've decided that it's a safe salvage environment, we may have you out with your mech learning in space, because you need to learn more than just up and down the corridors of stations and things. But it's going to be a gradual process, all right? It's going to take some time, and if you have questions about it, you can always ask, all right?
What happens when... No, what happens when the ghosts kill you all?
If in the very unlikely event that the ghosts kill us all, there will be arrangements made for you going forward in the future, but the ghosts are not going to kill us all right?
If on the very, very small chance that they do, don't worry. My dad will probably show up, and then he can help you, and you'll probably end up working for him.
No, we don't want to.
If the ghosts kill us all,
you'll have a choice.
You'll be able to take control of the ship and fly it wherever you like.
Okay. So, Colton, you'll be here too, and Xander at least, right?
Well, I'll be here while we're building your mech. I'll be out on the ships because I am. He says, holding up his variety of healing potions and syringes and things. I also do the healing.
We do healing, and like honey starts to just like squelch out some of the.
You do, but
armor.
if you're learning your mech, I will be even more important out there in the battlefield.
Right, you're going to be busy with your training, remember.
So who will be training us if Coltarn's on the ship?
Xander.
So just Xander's going to stay on the ship?
This time.
No, this sounds like a dumb idea.
Well, unfortunately, when it comes to safety, sometimes you don't get a choice.
What do you all have to learn? If we have to learn a thing, you all should have to learn a thing.
That's not exactly how that works. Most of us have most of our learning out of the way already. You don't.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
There's all kinds of things you all don't know.
There are many things that we don't know, it's true, but all of us are capable of... We have all learned the things that is necessary in society for us to do this salvage mission and most of the dangerous stuff. You haven't.
What are the things?
Peace.
What do you know about ethics, Bees?
We know that ethics mean that you don't take something that belongs to somebody if they need it more than you.
We know, Jasira says.
There's a lot more to it than that most of us are aware of, and that you will learn over time.
What does Surprise know about ethics? Surprise gets to go.
I know that this whole thing seems kind of sketch. That's what I know about ethics.
See? Surprise doesn't know about ethics.
Yes, well, we have traveled with you for several months now, and as your leader, I've got a rough idea what your grasp of ethics is. Surprise is coming with us partially so that I can get an idea of what Surprise knows about ethics and make my evaluations on that going forward as well.
So can I interrupt everybody for a minute just to make sure I understand what's going on here?
If you like, yes. Do you have questions?
I have so many questions. So
Hit me.
Beast has been with you, as you said, a couple months now. Yes?
Shawnee, is that roughly accurate on our time scale here?
It's been a matter of months, yes.
Indeed.
And during that time, Bees has been acting as a full member of your organization?
Somewhat.
And there seems to have been a vote recently that put you in charge of what Bees is and isn't allowed to do?
Yes.
And
Everybody, really.
So how often do you guys have this vote
Not
that
me.
hands over your whole autonomy to one member of the crew?
I'm the leader of the Dust Knights. In terms of operational practices and that sort of thing, I'm in charge.
And
It doesn't
that gives
actually-
you the
it's not
power.
actually an autonomous thing. In this
It's
particular
right.
instance.
As Coltarn said, I'm in charge of field operations, and therefore, if I make the decision that a member needs to take a break from field operations, I'm the one who gets the vote on that.
So what did Bees do to earn this punitive action?
This isn't punitive.
This isn't punitive.
No, this isn't a punishment.
But for some reason, learning how to drive a truck is supposed to make fights less dangerous?
No, Bees needs to learn certain basic social constructs because Bees is functionally, from a development standpoint, a child, more or less.
Only some of us.
Excuse me, what?
Is attacking other people in your friends, is that part of ethics?
Yes, it is, actually.
The arm shoots out and points at Kendall. Then Kendall needs to learn ethics too.
I made a mistake and I apologized for that.
Well, we apologize for our mistake, so we get to go.
No, you
That's
haven't.
not exactly how that works.
So how does it work? How does it work? We vote for somebody to get to decide who is and isn't a child, and thus doesn't get to be a full person as far as the crew is concerned.
Surprise, what
And
are you
now we're
attempting
going
to accomplish as part of this line of questioning?
I'm trying to accomplish keeping myself safe.
All right. If you don't feel safe coming with us on the salvage mission, you're welcome to stay behind on the ship.
I am not staying behind on this ship. Not anywhere where you're in charge.
But Till wouldn't be staying on the ship. So if you're not
If you're
feeling safe
uncomfortable
where Till is in charge, then being on the salvage mission would put you where Till is in charge.
There's plenty of station other than the salvage mission.
I mean, yes, if you're not happy being part of the Dust Knights with me as the commanding entity, that's also a decision you're free to make.
All of you are just okay living on a ship where anybody could all of a sudden suddenly be declared a child, and thus
Those quotation marks aren't necessary. Bees, by behavior, has demonstrated a childlike level of psychological development. That's not a question.
what standards are you using?
Also, surprise.
Where's the rubric?
Surprise.
Where's your rubric?
What
Surprise?
is-
Shut the fuck up.
Surprise. You're very upset about something that a situation you've only just partially heard about, and you're making a lot of erroneous assumptions as to the intentions and processes going on. This seems like it's a touchy subject for you. Is there a reason behind that? Something you'd like to get off your chest?
I'm stuck on a ship with a bunch of strangers that seemed like fun people, and it seems like I have put myself in some pretty serious danger right here.
If you're feeling threatened or uncomfortable, you are welcome to get off and leave as soon as we arrive at our destination. Absolutely nobody is going to keep you here against your will.
You
Yeah,
actively...
but
Okay,
keeping
hold on,
Bees
hold
here
on.
against his will.
Hold
No.
on.
No.
No, if Bees wants to leave, he can leave.
Hold on. Based on based on a conversation where we're trying to be protective of bees right now, this is very quickly turned into everybody can fuck off and go. And I don't think that's what I think nobody's making the right direction to this conversation. Nobody.
So the situation we have here, Surprise, is that some of us, Kendall excluded, function as an adventuring party of sorts. Are you familiar with the general social construct therein?
What answer do I have to give so that you don't decide I'm a child?
Your behavior as someone who is operating independently and on their own seems to indicate that you would fall under the general social category of an independent adult. So that's the assumption that we've made.
Yeah, but it took you months to come to a conclusion about bees. So how long do I have to operate
No.
before I can be sure that you're not going to change your mind?
If your behavior prompts an analysis that drives us to that conclusion to the exclusion of any other, then that will likely manifest itself, obviously, over a fairly short period of time. But if you're an adult, then you'll be treated as an adult. Bees,
I've been
psychologically,
with so many people
is a child.
who have not liked me. I'm not willing to bank that on you assessing me by some nebulous. What
This
do you
isn't
mean by
nebulous.
adult?
And
what does it mean to you?
I'm sorry, what does being an adult mean to you?
Nothing.
Interesting. Well, if you're not able to determine between adult and child, then
Jasira sort of puts a hand up. I should point out that ethereals
Surprise also lifts
exist
her
on an
hand.
entirely different spectrum of being. Age isn't really a factor in their existence.
all right. Surprise, since age and the ability of psychological development isn't a factor in your existence, then let me just say we're having a conversation on a concept that all of us have, based on societal development, a level of understanding of. But if you don't wish to have any comprehension or understanding of it, feel free to remove yourself from the conversation.
But Surprise doesn't have to agree because Surprise isn't a member of the Dust Knights, right?
That is true. Surprise does not have to personally agree with anything here, but if Surprise is going to become a member of the Dust Knights, they will have to assent to my authority until such a time as the entirety of the Dust Knights decides in a change of leadership.
Okay, we quit.
All right, you don't
with
come with
these.
us. That's fine. You guys are now guests on this ship, and you won't be coming on any missions with us. Does that?
Please, I'll hook you up. As soon as we get to the station, I'll hook you up.
Still
You're gonna be
go.
fine.
We get to make our own choice.
We'll get a
You
car.
you can still stay on this ship, but if you don't want to be part of the Dust Knights, you don't get to come on any assignments with us, unfortunately.
What, Mistle?
Are you leaving, Bees?
Well, we don't get to come if we stay, so
Yes, you do eventually.
You also don't get to come if you leave.
There are plenty of other places you can go. There's plenty of people who have adventures. I have adventures all the time. I've never adventured with these guys.
Well, this conversation took a bit of a turn. Surprise? Go. Please leave the bridge.
I don't trust you guys with this.
Surprise, you don't know any of us.
No, I don't. And you guys are scary.
The fact
Really?
I'm not certain how you're getting that conclusion either.
You
If
can
we're
just
scary,
tell
if we're scary, why did you come
no
along with
authority
us?
over his own choices anymore?
Surprise, are you unfamiliar at all with the idea of a company and how they function or run, with command structures, organizational function at all?
No, I've been instructed before. I've just never seen anybody tell
So
anybody that
no
they don't get to
one-
make their own choices.
So no one.
Have you ever seen
in-
an adult deal with a child before?
No?
All right, then you don't have the necessary background context to make an accurate assumption of the current situation that we're engaged with right now.
Till,
Okay,
Till,
but
do
I'm
you
going
have
to make an
children?
assumption based on the knowledge I do have.
Surprise, do you know how to construct and retrofit a Stardust engine?
What does that have to do with making fights safer?
Well, you're making assumptions based off the knowledge you do have, which is not the relevant knowledge for the situation, and making decisions based off the knowledge that is not relevant to the situation. So I'm asking if you would, for instance, try to hotwire the hyperdrive of a Stardust vessel to make it work functionally, warp through Kanunga Gap, without any knowledge of what a Stardust engine is.
No, see, the knowledge I have is that there's a guy on the ship who's getting ganged up on, and that's not fair.
We're not ganging up on bees. We were having a conversation.
You're wrong on both those assumptions.
I'm going to look to bees. I am flabbergasted by it.
I didn't hear what you said.
I'm checking for bees' response to all of this.
Bees is at this point just seems to be sort of paying attention to the various conversations going on. And then Bees says, Till, how many children do you have?
Me personally?
Yes.
None.
Do any of the rest of you have children?
I don't have any children of my own, but I do have younger siblings.
We have siblings. Everybody has siblings. We've raised generations of young to adulthood that have grown and bred and died in the time that we've known you. And dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens before that. We're not a child.
I'm going to stare at
There are some larval forms in us, but within a few days, they'll be adults. And a few days after that, they'll die. If there are problems with us and how we act on missions, we can talk about that. But comparing us to a child is stupid. We're not a child.
I do give Till a sidelong glance as Bees echoes the thing he said. Coltarn said last time.
Animal
surprised staring
children
at Coltarn,
and sapient children are two different levels.
Then why do you use that term? It doesn't apply here, but it seems like it's something that if we cared about age, if we thought that you were using it at all in a right way, which you're not, would be a pretty mean thing to say to anyone who wasn't actually a child. And
when sapient levels of individuals talk about child, they aren't simply talking about it from a level of physical development. They're talking it from a level of mental development and emotional development as well.
But you want us to be able to change and adapt, but you're not willing to change and adapt even in this conversation. You can't even use a different term. So which one of us needs to grow and change more?
As far as that goes, Bees, the situation is not one where this is exactly the sort of thing I'm talking about. You haven't developed to a point where you understand the difference between a biological child of a torch bee and the fact that they come to biological adulthood in several days versus the child to adult development structure of a sapient intelligence, which is something that takes longer.
So you think we're going to change? You think we're going to become an adult
Yes,
We're a swarm. We don't change. This is who we are.
you have changed. Over the months that we've known you, you've developed more learning. You've retained information that has changed your default method of making decisions. You go through and seem to be on a arc of development similar to that of many sapient species that I've encountered over my years of existence.
So do we need to learn or do we need to develop?
Both.
And point of
They're
fact,
not
Bees,
mutually exclusive.
Point of fact, Bees, you've already changed significantly even before we entered the picture. You told us yourself that you weren't always aware. And this awareness that you have now continues through even the generations of your hive that change over. There is a singular awareness that you speak from, but we can tell that you don't even understand that. Well, honestly, as far as it regards to that particular aspect, we don't fully understand it from you.
But as learning and development and adjustment and evolution occur, then we'll be able to say, yes, it's safe enough for bees to come back on missions with us. And in the meantime, we're going to do whatever is possible to invest in you and help you learn and develop and access the sort of training and knowledge that you seem to want, like driving the mechs and learning more about how to fly the ship and that sort of thing.
And to be clear, Bees, it's not about physical safety. You are fully capable and have proven several times of defending yourself, of fighting off things that are trying to attack you. This is a mental and emotional safety and security. The sort of understanding that leads you to be able to make decisions that are dangerous because you know that there are potentially worse things that could happen if you don't, or the ability to recognize a situation as being too dangerous to be worth the risk, even though what you want might be on the other side of it. That is something you have demonstrated an inability to pick up on.
The prize lets out a barking laugh.
Then tell us what it is that you want to see from us. Because we don't agree to it if it's just, you have to wait until I say it's okay, Till.
We're going to need to see that your emotional and mental analysis of situations is sophisticated and developed enough that we're not going to have to worry about your ability to exercise impulse control and about 100 other things that abstractly I don't have definitive terminology because unfortunately I never went to university for any of this. But it's the sort of thing when an adult can recognize that someone is operating on a similar adult level, mentally and emotionally as well as physically.
Look, I can give you a more concrete
A
idea.
childlike level doesn't. Makes a sweeping gesture towards Koltar.
Bees, Varush imparted to us at one point that his neck had been hurting for a while because he had suddenly realized that he'd told you at one point a long time ago that he would nod if you needed to attack something. And then he realized that you were no longer capable of realizing that that only meant in that one specific instance and not every single time he nodded. And so he was suddenly on the alert for any time he might have the instance of nodding his head, whether or not that was going to cause you to attack something.
So if anybody else misunderstands something, then they're a child and have to stay behind too?
It's not about misunderstanding, Bees. That's not an isolated incident. There have been several... I'm pretty confident that I can say for most of us at the very least, every day there are instances where we have to take an extra amount of mental capacity and space to make sure we don't say or do something that will cause you to go off on a random impulse that will endanger yourself or others. Every day. What we're looking for is not to have to do the mental load of a whole nother person just for us to do basic tasks.
So what's something that someone else in the Dust Knights would have to do so that they had to set out a mission?
For instance, if I would have to be... I am very confident that if I were to make a joke about dropping a bomb, that Till would not immediately trigger any artillery that the ship happens to be holding on to.
So if someone bombs something, they have to set out a mission?
No. But if someone bombs something without a good reason, then
Because
that
of
would be something that would
because of a
necessitate a
erstwhile
conversation.
statement, yes.
Out of character. The Dust Knights, not fond of war crimes.
Yeah, generally speaking, yes.
New slogan.
As this conversation is going, Srita and Jasira sort of look at each other and look at the console. And Jasira speaks up. I get the feeling this conversation is going to go in circles for a bit. Perhaps we should go and discuss the parameters of the mission with our contact and come back to this later when we're not talking in circles around each other, because some people are in disagreements about what exactly is going on, what adulthood is, and whether or not this is an intervention, a protective measure, or a punishment.
I look over at the console. Have we arrived?
Yeah, this is the ship. The ship's autopilot is pulling you into Gilgamesh.
No.
Jasira,
All right.
what do you think?
I think this is a hell of a conversation and probably needs more than just two people yelling at each other and not understanding what the conversation is being had.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to yell. I was just... my voice is...
Oh, no, I'm not talking about you.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
In regards
Should
to
we be
what?
able to go or not?
I think you should give it I think you should give what they're saying a try and see how it goes. If you don't learn anything, maybe you just abandon it and we figure something else out. If you realize that you're not getting anywhere, that's a realization on its own. And maybe you decide that you don't really want to stay around the Dust Knights. Who knows? You can make your own decisions on that. The request from them is something that is probably a long time coming, but I don't have the capacity to make that decision for you. Only you do.
Peace. May I
What?
please have a conversation with you privately?
Can you see a star from here at this point in the system?
You can also see the artificial sun that is orbiting the space station.
We're going to go back to our hive. You can come if you want. And they start sort of stutter stepping off towards the observation deck.
Yeah, Mistel's sitting on them.
Okay.
Surprise is going to start after them unless Bees gives an indication. That
Mistel will hold up a hand and shake her head.
Surprise is not listening to you.
What has Mistel said that has made Surprise angry? Because she
This whole
hasn't said anything.
conversation has made Surprise angry.
Okay, no, Mistel will say to Surprise, please let me speak to them first.
If they feel safe with it,
We're not scared of anybody. Surprise, we feel safe. It's everybody else who's scared of us. Maybe they should be.
all right, I'm going on station. You need anything, I'll make sure I'm findable. And I'm gonna leave the ship as fast as I can.
Surprise
Goodbye and good luck.
Surprise,
Yeah,
we like you.
And with that, We're gonna go on a quick break.
All right. If you're watching live, please remember when we take our break, you take your break. So stand up, stretch your legs, move around, do whatever you need to do. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. And we're back. A dinosaur story.
If you say so.
One of these days, someone will be playing like a humanoid dinosaur, and that will always be factually true.
I feel like it just sends a constant campaigning for a World of Darkness Macaulay chronicle.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But we pick up from this dramatic, conflict-filled environment with with Mistle. Sorry, different names that end in ul. Mistle and Bees. As the two of you have entered the observation deck. So Bees, you can once again see your hive.
Yeah, Bees sort of marches over to that. I mean, it would no longer be ragged, but there is sort of a noticeable hole in it, and Bees just sort of slams the hive armor into it and vacates the armor into the rest of the hive that is on the far wall. Can we see both stars, the artificial one and the regular one, at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the sky is full of stars, but only in like. I mean, actually, no. In all directions, the sky is full of stars, but there's only the one that is nearby, which is the artificial one.
Okay, all right.
Please. I want to be able to talk to you because there were a lot of voices in there. And I kind of held back because there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
I want to tell you that I am not... Okay, personally, I have very, very mixed feelings, and I'm getting more confused by the moment.
What are you confused about?
All of Till's views on this.
We don't think Till knows what a child is.
Yeah, there was a discussion about that before I got you. Yeah. I think that Till is more talking about your mental state. And I don't mean this in a bad way at all. I think that Till wants to make sure that you are able to operate in a way that will not harm you or anyone else.
Till's supposed to be worried about all of us. Not all of us. And there's like a hum through the hive wall, but all of us. And the bees that are around the Mistle sort of light up and dance about her.
And I don't think he's explaining it in the best way. He is concerned about everyone, and you are a part of everyone, and you work with the group. And so I think he is concerned about how you work with the group, if that makes sense.
We've never hurt anyone in the group.
No, of course not.
We've helped everyone in the group. We all hunt together. We go on missions. We get things.
All right, Bees, I would like you to tell me, first of all, how you are feeling about all this.
I feel angry at Till because Till's stupid and isn't listening and doesn't know what a child is and basing everything on talk about a child when. But what you said, we don't know what we are. We don't know why our swarm is like it is. We don't know why we could never talk to other swarms. We don't know why we don't remember being able to talk at all. a while ago.
And I think that's part of why Till is concerned. You are very different from anything any of us have encountered. And that's not a bad thing. It makes you special. But I think he's confused about how to go about things. Because Till and the rest of us haven't encountered another you before.
Well, we hadn't encountered any of you all before. Even the people like Till that we met look different than Till. Like Gideon looks different than Till. But everybody's different, and that doesn't mean Mistle, we're friends, right? You're friends with us and we're friends with you.
We are best friends, bees. And she will touch one of the bees to her forehead.
It just sort of vibrates. It says, Gideon was our first real friend. Gideon was the one who taught us that screaming at people isn't the only way to talk to them, because that's how people first talked to us when we came in out of the swamps. But do you think we should stay behind?
Honestly, I don't. I don't know how it's going to help. I think that you grow developmentally when you are with the rest of us. And I don't understand what keeping you from the rest of us will do.
Do you think Coltarn's really going to give us a big robot with lots of knees to ride around in?
Yes, definitely. Coltarn is working on that.
Do you think if we stay behind and learn to drive that on this one time, that we'll get to have the bee's knees?
I think that is Till's decision.
Well, no, Gideon's not here right now, and I know you're a very good friend. But Gideon is our very good friend too. And Gideon always told us, get that paper. And we know that the bee's knees isn't paper, but we kind of feel like you can't tell people that we said this, says another small group of bees nearby.
Okay.
But we kind of feel like if we say yes and we stay behind, and then we get a car and we get to drive it, and then we get to come with you again.
My concern, and I'm probably going to go talk to Till after our conversation. Yeah, my concern is I'm not sure how long. I feel like it wouldn't just be one mission and then everything is fixed. From Till's point of view, this may be more long-term.
What if we said we would stay one time? Wouldn't that show the sort of ethical consideration that they're looking for? And then if we did that one time, we could go on the next one and see if things are better.
I personally think that sounds very fair. I will need to talk to Till, okay?
Okay, but give me my big robot. Get us our big robot.
I will personally check on that and make sure that you are getting a big robot, okay?
Okay. Don't tell them that we're doing it just for the robot.
I will not, I promise. All right.
Hey, Mistle?
Yeah?
We're glad you found your family, but we're glad you stayed with this family too.
Thank you. So am I.
We're glad you're our best friend.
So am I.
Hey,
If you're
Kendall?
good.
Hey, Mistle?
Yes.
If you're on a ghost ship without us, save us something cool and don't get hurt.
I
Because if we're
promise.
there to look after you, we're worried you're going to get hurt.
I'll be okay.
Okay. And then more of them come around and do that like buzz to sort of warm you up a little bit.
She will scoop up as many as she can and hug them.
Okay.
I'm gonna go talk to Till, okay?
Okay.
All right. Are you good here?
We can see the stars. We're good.
Okay. And Mista will fly off to find Till.
Okay.
While that's happening, meanwhile, surprise.
Surprise is on a hurry to get off of this ship.
Yep. You
They're-
start making your way to the airlock.
They're a doll, and so that means that they can't, and their eyes are made out of paint, but the same way you can still sort of tell where Surprise is looking and how Surprise is looking. You can also tell that this is not Surprise's happy face. This is Surprise's very, very upset face. If Surprise had tear ducts, they might be working right now. But Surprise does not.
And so you make your way to the airlock.
Yep.
And there you find someone who was in the room you just left, who seems to have gotten here ahead of you somehow.
And who, by the way, has changed.
Changed?
Yes, clothing.
Ah.
This is out of ship. You changed to out of ship clothing.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Yeah, no, Kendall is sitting there just looking kind of jittery and like little bouncing on the back heels thing, like waiting for the airlock to open. Like, oh, hi.
Surprise full on jumps when they see you.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I had it's getting a little intense in there, so I kind of, bailed.
Yeah.
Did it get better?
No.
Okay. How did it? So let's imagine theoretically that I left like, say, shortly after but maybe like a couple minutes after I said, everybody needs to kind of change the approach there. What happened after that?
Theoretically, you mean.
Theoretically, yes.
Theoretically.
Hypothetically.
Well, nobody changed anything.
Okay.
I think we've reached the agreement that I am not welcome to visit any of the ghost ships. Which I guess is fine by me. It does not look like it is.
No. Okay, so no, you're totally fine. I mean, are you fine?
I just I thought I found a bunch of friends. I thought, oh look, surprise, here you are. Just sat down on a new planet, and look, you got a truck full of friends right here, ready and waiting to be your pals, be your buddies. Look, we're having such a great time. Look at all these weird, quirky people. We're gonna go look at some ghost ships with them. It's gonna be great. But then apparently it's a ship full of people who can just lock you up whenever they want because they don't like the way your brain works, because they don't think you understand yourself enough, or because they don't understand you, and it's just, and I will not be locked up. I won't do it. I won't do it.
We need drinks.
Yes.
We need drinks. Is this shit? Are
I might have an idea of where to find some of them.
ah?
As Coltarn steps up right as the airlock begins to hiss as it prepares to equalize atmosphere so you can leave.
Coltarn, you know not to do that.
Sorry.
What happens when I get spooked?
Magic happens.
Yes.
But magic happens when you're happy as well.
Yeah, but that's generally good magic.
I see
Sorry.
Till again, magic's gonna happen.
I didn't mean to startle. I apologize. And then looking towards Surprise, I also want to apologize for the mood of the room previously and for Till's attitude towards you.
There's a lot going on there right now, and yet we definitely need to talk about it over something really fruity with an umbrella.
I happen to know a place.
Awesome.
I don't have anything else going on, I guess.
Well, then allow me to lead the way.
We have plenty of time before Till realizes that I'm not there.
And that will be a magical moment all on its own. Say, ushering them out the airlock.
The airlock opens, the docking bridge extends.
As we're walking,
Right, let's go.
as we're walking, looking to Surprise. If I might ask, and feel free to tell me to fuck off, it's none of my business, obviously. Are you okay?
Behind Surprise's back, shaking head.
He's looking at Surprise, so he doesn't see it.
Surprise gives it a bunch of thought. I don't know. Till scares me.
There's, like I said, there's a lot going on there right now, and here's the thing: a lot of There are, I think we all legit. I'm going to try and talk about this in sort of two different aspects. I think you'll get it. There's a lot of the sentiment that's being expressed about concerns about bees that I think everybody shares. Coltarn, I think you could agree with that.
Yes, I don't necessarily agree with the methodology, but I do agree that with the purpose behind it.
Yeah. I don't like the approach. The approach was all bad. It was 100% fully bad. But the sentiment is good. But
why don't any of you like bees?
No.
We do like bees. We
like bees.
We like
bees.
bees
Doesn't
very
like
much.
me because I did something really bad that I super regret.
Bees also doesn't like me because I did something very practical that I don't regret at all.
Fucking fantastic.
But we like bees.
But
we like bees very much.
We
Why would
worry
you
about
want to do
bees.
this to somebody you like?
That's what I was wanting to ask you about, because what do you think we're doing to bees?
I mean, you're locking them on the ship, aren't you?
No.
The whole conversation was specifically about the intent behind it is, look, when we get into absolute life or death situations, there are things that sometimes happen that bees does that can endanger himself and us.
I mean, that's what life
themselves.
and death situations
Right.
are.
But it's different.
It's a difficult
Because
concept
it's-
to explain.
When we try to let me explain it this way. So if I myself in the middle of a fight, like thought of doing something, did something, it was bad, and after the fight it was said, hey, that was bad, you shouldn't do that. Now I might get defensive and I might try to deflect a little, but ultimately I probably won't make that decision again, or at least I would explain why I thought it was a good decision in that whole situation. I actually had a conversation with Till about that recently, and I think he understood.
Wait, so you
Bees
disagree
doesn't
with him and
do
you think,
sorry,
but he doesn't think you're a child.
he very much thinks I'm a child. I'm in a
Why
weird
aren't you being confined?
because I'm in a weird situation, and that's why I'm very weird
Because
about
Kindle's-
this whole thing.
Because Kindle's father
then-
is his employer.
How do I get in a weird situation?
So let me.
This-
Well, go ahead, Kendall.
Because I can't
no,
fight
it's fine.
all of you guys.
So even in how to put this, even in the past with Bees, when Bees has done things that have been has made mistakes, I've 100% said, look, it's fine. I've moved things over a bit. There's a point where it became repeated to the point where I was like, this isn't. It wasn't a simple mistake. It's a what's the term that they use? What did my shrink say? Pattern of behavior. Everybody makes mistakes. Till knows that. Till's dealing with a lot right now. I think Till, and I'm assuming we're still walking.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
still walking.
At this point, and hopefully getting close to a bar.
There's no any bar that Coltarn knows is like in the industrial sector
Okay,
of the
fair.
station, so it's gonna be a little bit of walking.
And I completely forgot what I was saying now.
There's got to be. You're
Better
looking
way.
for a bar. There's got to be a closer bar to the spaceport.
That's
One.
that's true. If we find a bar sooner, Kendall's just gonna divert that way.
That works.
There's one right by the spaceport, I would imagine, with like a beholder wearing like strap on sunglasses and like with a little orange beard, and it's called I Fieries.
I was waiting
I
for
will
it. I
absolutely
was
make
waiting
that the
for it.
case.
I hate everything about it, but I also kind of like it.
Oh, this
Question
place-
though, Craig, is the beholder, is it a mono like a single lens for the main eyeball, or does
Oh
it
yeah,
still
yeah,
have
yeah.
does it still have two lenses for no reason with
No,
a
it's-
central
no,
eyeball?
the main eyeball with just branching ones that the other eyeballs can tuck behind.
No, each one of the eyes has one of those, like when you go to the eye doctor and you come out, it's like a roll-on, so it's just like a thing that's like attached
Right.
around it, but they're like prismatic.
But I think
Oh, this place looks your speed, Kindle.
perfect. So Till's
Sorry for
dealing with-
overstepping my bounds.
No, you're good. You're good. I hate you, but you're good. But so Till, I think a lot of the reason I might have worded it so badly is because we saw my dad like what? Literally an hour
day.
before that conversation started.
A day
Before the
ago, yeah.
beginnings of that conversation start. Yeah. Not long ago. And he's weird around my dad because he feels threatened by him because. And she looks around and leans and goes, "My dad's not really a nice person. Like, really, really not a nice person." And so, a little bit louder again, I think that he might have been feeling a little threatened, feeling a little scared, and then acting irrationally. I think that might have something to do with this whole thing a little bit. Plus, add that into the concerns that have been legitimately had, and being in a position where, and this is about you, but it's not about you, where all of a sudden there's another person on the ship who he doesn't know, and he has just been made responsible for this whole group as a whole, and he doesn't really know how to react. He made a kind of very person-y mistake in how he approached it. I don't think any of us disagree with the sentiment, but the delivery was real fucking bad.
I thought of a analog for to get you. I think because I think you have a. I'm not sure why, and I'd like to get into that if possible.
Yeah.
You have an odd perspective on the situation. We're not trying to lock bees up.
No.
Bees is a person that routinely walks in front of a train. And we routinely have to pull bees out from in front of the train.
Oh.
We're wanting to teach bees to not walk in front of the train.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Things like, for example, bees wants to drive. So bees has to be taught how to drive.
And I've been working on setting up a situation where
For
we can
sure.
teach bees how to drive.
But when we said, bees, you have to learn how to drive, bees said, I know how to drive, when he clearly didn't. And he does things like write down bees knows how to drive on a paper and say he has a license.
Because he has a service level understanding of what is required to drive, but not an actual understanding of what is required to drive.
Right.
And when we're trying to keep him from putting himself in danger every day, it becomes difficult to parse that out clearly for somebody coming into the situation fresh, and for that I apologize.
Yeah.
But we're not trying to, and honestly, again,
I didn't know people could be like that.
Bees is special in good ways.
Bees is special, but also that is fairly common of the young of most species. I understand ethereals aren't familiar with concepts of childhood, as I understand.
Also that. As far as you being worried about yourself, though, you don't have to worry about that.
And to be clear, this isn't something that Till has the authority to decide on his own.
No.
He did come to all of us and talk about it beforehand. Which is where I voiced
you all knew about the train.
Yes, we all knew about the train, yes.
And I want to be clear, we're talking about a metaphorical train.
Yeah, metaphorical train, not an actual train, obviously.
Yeah.
I voiced my dissent, and because I don't agree with the concept of labeling someone a child, because various different species things, but I was in the minority, so I have to back up my commander, because that is my job. But
yeah, I don't think I could do that job.
And if
Shrugs.
It wouldn't happen, but if Till were to say something like, you need to be confined to somewhere, and I mean, this is obviously in this situation where you didn't suddenly decide to murder Coltarn or something like that.
No,
Please
he's
don't.
cool.
You know,
I'm
right,
very
right. But
attached
you know
to
what
this
I
form.
mean. If somebody were to, if Till were to say something like that, I would 100% have your back.
There's no unilateral action here. Till's
No.
in charge of the field command, and Till is the ostensible leader of the organization, but we all have our roles to play. Till is our leader, but he can't repair the engines.
I get. Yeah, that's what I'm used to. It didn't feel like that in the moment.
No, because it was a really weird situation and a weird time for you to come into the group, I think.
It's a delicate subject and a complicated one. And while we can all agree, those of us within the Dust Knights can agree that something needs to be done, we are not all of one mind on what needs to be done, which is the point where a leader takes charge and they make a decision because the rest of us have different ideas. And if it doesn't work, we come back together and we work on something else. We
Mhm.
And in
figure
the
out a different
meantime,
way.
we've got 3 other people who are going to make sure Bees doesn't step in front of a train and also doesn't get bullied or whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
If Till were out of line, I wouldn't hesitate to deck him. I say, flexing the battle fist. But he's not. He's just tired and stressed. And I understand it.
I haven't been around long either. There's a lot of things I don't know about myself, and I was. It sounded like I was the kind of person you'd come after next. There have been plenty of people who haven't liked me.
You're great. I mean, I get it. People don't like me.
How long have you been around?
Well,
Again, feel free to tell me to fuck off. Sorry, what was that?
How do you measure childhood?
Well, in most species, you measure childhood on a couple of different axes, honestly. For the dwarves, it's typically considered the first 100 to 200 years of your life, depending on how conservative your parents are.
Well, but I'm not telling.
But I'm an orc who was raised by dwarves, and I'm only 20 years old. But my father wouldn't dare consider me a child.
I'm 19. My dad still thinks I'm a kid. Till probably still thinks I'm a kid, and I think I'm an adult. And a lot of other people I know think I'm an adult.
Well, and you also will live for a few thousand years, too.
That too.
Whereas I will probably make it to 100 or so, depending. So it varies. Everyone has their own.
For reference, because you have a passing familiarity with ethereals. Ethereals sort of spring into being with an extant personality. They don't really have a childhood.
Yeah. From my understanding, ethereals don't have a childhood. They just sort of manifest.
I wouldn't know.
Also, for our audience, for anyone from the future who's come back and is scrolling through after Coldharn has died in battle, looking for his errant prediction of living to 100, this is the episode and the timestamp you want.
I hope you enjoy my replacement character. Were you not raised by other ethereals or educated by any others?
I mean, I think I've met one once in passing.
How familiar am I with ethereal culture, Johnny?
Roll me history.
History. Nine.
Not very, but you do know that ethereals are relatively rare because they are beings that exist primarily on the ethereal plane. They require specially created bodies for them to inhabit that allows them to walk on the physical plane.
Yeah.
And for that reason, there might be more ethereals than people realize, but they just can't see or interact with them. For the most part, ethereal culture is a series of unique individuals with varying perspectives.
Do they have a homeworld, as far as I'm aware?
Not particularly. They work primarily among the Magocracy because the Argons and the High Elves were the first ones to discover them and build bodies for them.
Yeah.
So the vast majority of them live among the Magocracy because that's where most people make bodies for them.
Well,
Johnny, did I understand you correctly that there are just naked ethereals everywhere?
Probably.
Hell yeah, I'm into it.
There is what could roughly be described as a homeworld for them called the Sleeping Archive, which is basically a massive repository of the Magocracy's magical knowledge that primarily ethereals run, because ethereals also form the sort of ethical backbone of the Magocracy, the people who say, hey, maybe you shouldn't dig too deep into dangerous dark magics because I'm made of magic and I know how dangerous that is.
Stop digging so greedily and so deep.
Yeah,
also, it tickles.
Well, pardon me again if this is a personal question. I'm not super familiar, but who made your suit? I imagine that's a intentional thing, isn't it?
Kendall walked off to get drinks and is now just coming back with like a full tray of like multiple drinks for everybody.
Are any of them hard enough to affect Coltarn? I have to ask.
No, but there's a central tray with 10 little coasters coming off of it, and it's a branded thing called I Fieri's beer holder.
Yes.
Sen, I will point out that there are absolutely very fruity drinks that will get you knocked unconscious in a swallow.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what Kendall drinks.
I forget. What's Kendall's constitution score?
Kendall's con isn't bad. Though in her case, it's more just 13. Not terrible.
Yeah.
But in her case, it's really more just exposure than anything else.
Yeah.
Girls built up a tolerance.
It's mostly the idea of, you know, Coltarn is 7'2" and 300 pounds. So
right.
By volume, he has to drink a lot to
by volume, it'll be a lot, but this stuff will be like, this is like 190 proof shit or something ridiculous like that.
Ideal. One of them's still on fire. That's the one Coltarn reaches for.
Yeah.
Have to get surprise drunk on a different plane.
But yeah. Sorry,
you asked who made
the suit?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this one was made by a crewmate, and we had to go to a specialist to get it like marked up.
Yes, I understand the markings are specific and individual.
But like, I haven't always had a special one.
Really?
No, I just sort of found one.
That strikes me as unusual.
I mean, it sucked before that. I needed to find one.
What did you do before that, then?
I don't like to think about it.
That's fair. Okay, no problem.
So, then yes, you don't really have a concept of childhood in that case. Children, by and large, again, the ages differ for every race and species, and so do the mental and societal standards, but...
I mean, if childhood is being in danger, then I guess I had one.
Childhood is less being in danger and more developing to be able to stand on your own through the support of those that love and care for you until you can.
Then I guess I'm still doing that.
I will also interject one last time and then I'll shut up, I promise, out of character. But if Surprise had a period of their life where they were not crazy about their physical body, and they don't like to think back on it and remember it. They may not have had a childhood, but they definitely had teen years.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Teen years? I'm 46.
Possibly, but it's more of
You're
a
young at heart.
I was not always. I said, gesturing towards himself. I was not always the diminutive individual you see before you. I was, when my father found me, I was an infant. He holds up his hand, small enough to fit inside my hand, with no ability to walk, talk, or do anything. Raising me from that to a point where I could understand language and build machines and fight on my own is the job of a parent. And it involves a lot of things, not just making sure you stay alive, but also making sure you learn and can operate in the world around you without dying out of lack of knowledge. And Bees doesn't have the knowledge that he needs to survive without one of us constantly grabbing him and pulling him away from the train tracks.
So
You probably do, considering that you've been on it sounds like a few ships.
it's not that he's stuck on the ship. It's that he has a group of people who are going to teach him how to exist before he has to do it by himself.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, I don't think, from everything you said, he's always had somebody to kind of take care of him and look out for him in kind of a parent way. And he's never really had to take care of himself as a whole entity, not as individual bees, because that's very
Yes.
different.
And so I understand why Till was using the child analogy, even though it's not quite accurate, but it's a similar concept.
Yeah.
I still don't like Till.
That's fair. I do, but I mean, I'm a softie.
I think that sounds like a good thing. And I might be a little jealous.
Would you like a mech suit as well? I can build you one.
I am a mech suit.
He just smiles.
Get in your lane.
Fair enough.
Fucking
No,
fantastic.
Amazing.
He sort of gestures towards the exosuit around him. I meant something larger, but obviously, yes.
If I wanted larger, I'd commission larger.
Fair enough. My apologies.
Maybe when this one breaks, you can make me one larger. I don't care.
Whatever specifications you'd like. I do appreciate how much you care about Pease's situation, though.
Mm-hmm.
You're
I
a
don't-
very empathetic person, as far as I can tell.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't care.
No, you should.
Caring is not a bad thing.
No.
I cared wrong.
Didn't know the situation.
You
That's all.
cared without having all the information. That's different. And it's still a good thing. It just led to a misunderstanding, I think.
Do you think Till will let me hang out with you guys again?
Yes.
He doesn't really have a choice if
And
the
on
rest
the
of us
off-
want you to.
On the off chance he says no, I'll make him say yes. Because I can do that.
If you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah.
For a little longer, at least.
Okay.
Good to hear.
Yes, I'm glad for that.
Well, let's finish these drinks and then we'll take a slow walk back, and hopefully by that point everyone will have calmed down.
You might need to carry me.
I have the capacity.
I mean, I can make it by myself a good 60 feet, but that's all the further I'll be able to teleport, and then I will fall over.
Not to worry.
Hey, surprise. Does your suit have a mouth?
It's fabric, you can drip through it.
I have a bit that I can fold in.
Yeah, so you theoretically can eat and drink for the sake of
Mostly
it.
it's just sort of pouring liquid onto the fabric and allowing it to soak in. But I do it.
Yeah, so you do get some drinking done.
Surprise does engage in this practice, yes.
I just like the idea of you just splashing the alcohol on your face and sitting there until it dries and then getting another one. When you get sloppy drunk, it's literal because your face begins to run.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I get drunk enough not to be able to prestidigitate my eyes back on right, that's sloppy drunk.
Yeah.
If somebody gets offended and throws a drink in Surprise's face, it comes off as oddly romantic, like you're feeding your partner. How forward.
Now Mistel has a talk with Till while we're drinking.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, while this drinking and understanding is happening, you drink and you know things.
It's true.
Mistel goes to find Till.
16 con, 20 intelligence.
Where?
I drink and I know things.
She finds Till in his cabin. He is tossing it, looking for his comm, because he realized that that's not Kendall, and he doesn't know where she is. And now he has to figure out at least where she is.
Wonderful.
I would love the 30-minute scene of Miss Fairchild. You don't have to talk to me, but
Right?
you have to at least. Damn it!
Goes like
Because
grab the
there'll always
shoulder
be
and the
that-
hand just goes through.
It will inevitably be that one moment where Till finally notices that that there's a slight glitch in the loop.
Right, there's like a weird loop, right? Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mistel will knock on the door to his cabin.
Come in.
Hi, Till.
I don't know why I said that. It's open. Oh,
Oh.
hello.
Hi. I was just talking to Bees, and I need to have a talk with you
Oh.
now.
All right.
That sounded ominous.
This talk involves
Go
knives.
ahead.
I had a talk with Bees, and now I need to talk with you. Shuts the door, pulls out gun.
Mistel does
Honestly,
not
that
use
would
a
be
gun.
Pulls
Thank
out
God,
beads.
somebody who's making it simple. What seems to be the situation?
Right. Bees and I have discussed things. I personally am confused on some things.
Okay, I'll do my best.
I don't think you were explaining things well.
All right, I can't really fault you for that analysis, given how everything.
Throwing around the word child was confusing Bees too much.
All right.
Things needed to be phrased a different way.
I'm trying to think of a better word that I could have that sounded less insulting, but no. All right. So that's something to look at.
I explained to
forward, yeah.
Bees that they are a unique individual that none of us has encountered before.
Mm-hmm.
And so things needed to be a little different with them.
All right.
That said, we have discussed things. Bees
Here
will...
are terms.
That's where the door closes and the knife comes out.
Sign here, no. Bees will sit out this mission. Well, they will stay here
Mm-hmm.
willingly.
All right.
They would like to maybe be involved in the next mission, though. So I need to ask you, how long do you see this keeping bees out of joining us on the field thing happening?
I wish I had like a good hard number. I mean,
You have
bees
an estimate.
learns and develops. Well, that's the thing. Like, even during the disagreement and conversation, bees started throwing around phrases like ethical considerations, which is not usually their general. It's very unpredictable, I'm finding. So
I don't know why that's as funny to me as it is, but
May I offer up something?
well, let me tell you my plan, and if it's
Okay.
very off base from yours,
Go ahead. Yes.
like on a weekly basis or something, just sitting down, evaluating development, that sort of thing. I don't know where all the talk about autonomy came down, because nothing is. Anyway, Bees is undergoing a mild grounding from a military perspective at worst. I hope that was clear to most of you. But anyway, like, we do a mission, we evaluate, we make a measurement, and if Bees seems like, at whatever point it seems that from an objective analytical perspective, we are convinced that Bees is matured enough mentally, I will happily have Bees and anybody else who's part of this group that wants to be on the field. And every single time that I've been, my training was exceptionally systematic. And frequent measurements of capability need to be undergone in order to ascertain if people are ready to proceed to the next level, which for Bees is, driving and scanners and eventually field work again. But at least on a weekly basis, this is going to be effectively brought up for discussion once more. And depending on the speed and aptitude at which Bees is able to grasp some of these abstract concepts that a person needs to be cognizant of before they should be allowed to have lethal power at their fingertips. When I was being taught to do the sort of things with a gun that I'm able to do, it was not simply someone slapped a tool in my hand and taught me how to do crazy, stupid things with bullets. There was philosophy and education and that sort of thing. That might have been a singular experience for me. And that's not how most of the universe treats sort of things, which, if I'm the odd one out, I will need somebody to tell me that. But that's my general plan. Give Bees as much freedom as we feel will not endanger them or other people around them as soon as possible.
That's similar to what I was going to suggest. I was going to suggest we do it maybe on a mission by mission basis.
I mean, I don't see any problem with that.
I think personally that there might be some
I just don't want to give Bees the expectation that I get to sit one out and then everything goes back to normal immediately. What their perception of normal has been up to this point.
I think that maybe we should, because Bees does learn being out there with the rest of us. Maybe we should do okay, this mission, Bees is going to stay here. And then depending on what the next mission is, Bees is going to come join us. And then maybe the next one, they hang back here for a little bit.
I think definitely on a mission by mission basis, yes, there will absolutely be times I mean, we're going into a derelict fleet that people have been throwing ghost around, and I don't know if that's mostly pejorative or practical. If we go out there and it's just a whole bunch of empty ships and it's just, hey, move around in void and grab what's valuable, but there's no active peril beyond environmental, I would say yes, like Koltarn had suggested. Put Bees in his little mech and get him out there so he can help with the heavy lifting and let him be out doing things.
I think I can explain this to Bees like this. I think this will be acceptable.
And I probably should have brought that distinction up sooner, because Bees probably thinks that anytime anybody leaves the ship, he has to stay behind. And that was... But yes, no, it's absolutely.
I think things they quickly derailed back there. There was a lot of confusion, and a lot of the same words were being used over and over. I think at a moment like that, which is why I didn't really say much, I think everyone needs to take a step back, and individual conversations are probably best.
Very likely. I think you're pretty correct on that. Yes.
Will you as a person be comfortable on a mission to mission basis and having, let's say in the next 2 weeks or so, Bees is back on the field for that mission?
If it's a safe enough mission and we've analyzed the risks and Bees is learning, yes. It's going to be a minute before I'm wanting them to, say, face off against a line of fire, probably. But depending on how they do, or what the actual scope of the situation is, and, or if it's say we get assigned a scouting and hunting mission where there's some hostile fauna, I'll feel better about fielding Bees against that than necessarily going on a prisoner extraction where someone's being held captive and there's a number of hostile troops around. That's a much more complicated, evolving sort of situation. But yes, no, absolutely. On a case-by-case basis, 100%, certainly.
Thank you. I will let Bees know.
Absolutely.
Are you doing okay?
Yes. And I'll talk to people as they come back. It sounds like most of them have gone on station. If anybody has concerns, please let them know. They can come and address those with me directly. I'm not
I will.
trying to be unilateral.
I understand. You have a lot on your plate right now.
Yes, a bit.
Also, if you're looking for Kindle, I would check the bars.
That's very accurate. All right. I'll probably go make the circuit.
I'm gonna go talk to Bees.
All right. And yeah, being that this is literally Till's home station, he's gonna head off. He's gonna strap on and head out.
Do you ever find your communicator?
Investigation or perception, Shawnee?
Perception.
Yes, I do.
The minute you find it, you look at it, and there's a message from Koltarn saying, "Kindle's with me. Take a breath."
He takes 3 and then heads out. Depending, do I know? I assume I read the posting on who our contact here was, right, Shawnee?
Yes.
If he finds them first, he'll just talk to them first.
Yeah. So
I think we were in the first bar after leaving the ship.
Yeah. So there's the bar after leaving the ship. Your contact is in the shipyards. Like
Oh,
like where
then
where
he's
ships
going.
are-
He's
where ships are made and
definitely
broken.
going there first. That's safe territory here.
Yeah. You have 3 contacts, technically speaking.
Okay.
But you head your way over there.
He'll key a
and-
message on that back to Coltarn, actually, letting him know. Sounds good. Headed to see contacts in the shipyards. Blip, blip, blip.
Without them seeing me ever pull out my communicator, because Tollbar does it for me, message back saying, just keep me updated.
So you head out to the shipyards. And roll me an insight check. You recognize your 3 contacts. You've seen them before.
Okay.
Specifically, these 3 were at the bar in Journeys Ahead.
Oh.
You see there is a tall, pale elven man with long white hair, black armor that is sort of body tight, and a staff on his back. There is a human woman, long golden hair, matronly figure with like long white robes, with like gold and green accents. Doesn't seem to have any visible weapons. And then there is the third figure who is entirely encased in heavy combat armor, with like this full face concealing, almost Mandalorian style heavy helmet, with a heavy machine gun sort of like just slung on his shoulder.
You said the first one was an elf?
Yes.
Okay.
And as you approach, the elf sort of like turns and looks over at you. Ah, you must be our contact for this mission.
Till Wayland, leader of the Dust Knights. Mentally, he says, for now.
Where did I put my notes on who these people were? God, I can never remember where I put my names. But he's sort of hang on a second. I have a better resource for this. Pull up my pin bookmarks. There we go. That's what I needed. Yes. So yeah, the elf sort of nods and says, "My name is Ivern. It's a pleasure to meet you."
Likewise, I understand this fleet drifted in, and are these simply ghost ships as the pejorative description, or have we been seeing specters and spirits out there already in point of fact?
Well, he says as he sort of waves a hand towards the shipyard viewport, and as you look out, you see there are 3 ships, large capital class battleships, and as you see, they're sort of drifting out in space. There has been like a makeshift connection dock like built out to them to like establish like a ground position near them.
Okay,
but
so
there's
you could void walk out there.
Yeah, but
Okay.
so that people can void walk out and try and get onto them. But they are still free floating in space. They're not like harbored in dock.
Okay.
And each of them looks like a complete fucking wreck. There are entire sides of the ship ripped open, exposed to space. There are massive holes punched into them. All of them seem to have been painted like a bone gray with black accents. And there are like bright crimson score marks from vicious laser beams cutting out. And everywhere you look, you can see the occasional spark of energy from like firing off subsystems. And as you watch, you see a green tide of energy sort of seep out of one that looks almost ethereal as it sort of swirls out in this columnating pattern that seems to like try and stretch out and wave between the other two ships and then just sort of dissipates after it spreads out.
Do I have any idea what that sort of phenomenon would be?
Roll me religion.
That's a 4. I'm going to use inspiration. That's a 5.
You have no idea.
Okay.
Ivern sort of indicates to it, death magic is something of my speciality. I am what many would call a necromancer. The energies there are spiritual in essence. That is lingering life force, the stuff that makes ghosts. But it doesn't have a shape of its own. And I'm uncertain why. It's as if these ships and the people that were on them, they died and left their life essence without leaving any of the guiding intent that gives shape to a ghost. And so there is simply wild energy awash on these ships.
Sounds perilous.
Part of what we need adventurers to do is investigate the source of this energy. If it is indeed from perhaps fatally injured and missing crew members, or if there's something else on board.
All right. Well, I'll speak with my experts and we'll get ourselves geared up and head out there as soon as we can then. Anything else pertinent you think we should be aware of before we engage?
Sort of turns to the human woman. Emilia, did you have anything? And she nods. There's more than just the ghost energies. There is, I won't say life signs, but there is living essence inside those ships. Something is still there. It might be animal. It might be naturally spacefaring creatures that have taken up residence inside the hull since they were excoriated and laid bare to the void. Or it may be something else. But there is sentience in there that I can sense. Not sapience, perhaps, but things that feel and think, even if they don't think on the level that what we would consider sapient beings do.
All right. We'll keep an eye out for that as well,
then. And the one in armor sort of speaks up. I recommend you come loaded for bear as far as heavy lifting goes. There's probably any amount of broken down rubble that might need to either be lifted or blasted through.
There's bears?
Space bears.
So bring
we can
both
provide
of the
breaching
mechs, is what I
We
hear.
can provide breaching charges if you need them, but that might potentially risk stabilization damage considering how poorly beat up these vessels are.
I think we'll try. If we can't get in any other way, but yes, I think we'll try something a little more subtle to start with, but I appreciate the offer. All right.
Darius, would you like to stay nearby and be ready if they need explosive assistance? The woman says to the man in armor. Yeah, I can hang around if they need breaching charges.
Set you up on the end of the dock with a couple of void pack drinks.
Yeah. I don't typically hang around in one place for too long, but this seemed interesting enough to keep my attention, so...
All right. I will make sure they have our comm frequencies then. And send a mass comm to the rest of the Dust Knights of basic briefing info gathered. Meet back on the ship whenever you're ready, and we will review the details.
How long do I know?
I put the spellings of Ivor and Amelia and Darius in the chat for you.
Do I know where there might be a Category 1 workshop that I could use to put together the two
Oh, almost certainly.
mechs? Okay. How long would that take me to do? Now that I've got the funds to just do it, how long would it take?
Probably most of the evening if you wanted to get to work on that. Especially the workshop has crew that can help.
Yeah.
But you could probably get it done over the course of a long rest.
Okay, so yeah. First, get Kendall and Surprise back to the ship. Am I carrying both of them or only one of them?
Surprise's doll isn't drunk,
Let's find
just
out.
the
Let's
pilot.
find out. Let's find out.
That's the point. Yes.
Let's see.
I feel like she's capable of walking. She's probably leaning pretty heavily on Surprise.
What am I doing? Yeah, Surprise is acting drunker than they are. There's walking totally fine, but a lot of emotional shouting at the world around them.
Kendall is drunk girl, you are my best friend right now.
And Surprise is rolling with that energy.
Yes.
Right, so then I'm
But
walking.
Also, over comms, you're a briefing.
On the way back to the ship.
Somewhat.
I'm just walking.
Period.
I'm just walking like a step behind in catch the drunk range, but not actively supporting them.
Yes.
So, the group of you all return to the ship.
I am. Oh, sorry.
Starters, Surprise, I would like to apologize for my brusque manner and abrupt phrasing earlier. I was a little rude. More than a little. I was rude earlier, and I would like to apologize for that.
You're really bad at talking for someone who had a person teach you how to person.
Oh, yes.
Give
Notice
you
that,
another
did you?
shot.
All right. Well, hopefully what I have to say isn't too concerning. And he'll just sort of vomit out all of the details on what he saw and what they expect. We've got there's 3 massive battleships out there, all really ripped up to shit. They're all leaking death magic and mindless life force. Also, there's something else out there that actually has thinking capabilities to a level or other. And we may need to blast our way in. They'll give us breaching charges if we need them, but those also might rip the ships apart in a very hazardous fashion. So we might want to go easy on that from the start.
I think the dust.
What are we all
runner-
bringing to the table? Go.
I'm pretty good at getting past doors.
So am I.
Excellent.
I need to go talk to someone, and I walk off.
My passive perception beats that stealth check, Beast. For whatever's happening there.
Same.
There's a small group of bees in one of the corners of the room.
I'm going to find bees.
Right.
Well, obviously
Most of
that'll
them
probably
is
be a
still-
Yeah, that'll-
conversation for later.
Yeah, most of them is on the observation deck.
Well, probably not going to need to. Probably want to wait at least a day. Then it'll take me an evening to finish putting together the Zorvan. But once it's put together, I think the strength enhancement of having a mech with of having a Dust Runner with us should allow for physically adjusting or opening up any holes we need. If
And
possible,
we have Missile and Surprise for the subtler.
if possible, I
barriers.
might want to borrow some more from the party funds then and acquire some industrial equipment for the mech. Just to be able to drill rather than explode our way through the wreckage.
We've got just over 3K still left in terms of party credits. So
Okay. And I might make some of the adjustments I'd planned for later now. 250 for a module adapter for industrial manipulators, an extra 150 for 2 industrial manipulators instead of civilian. And then
any objections to disbursement? All right.
and then something heavy to open a hole with.
Should we just call? All right. Come to
I'll
me with your.
I'll get you a
with your-
pricing before I
Excellent.
purchase. But yes, I can get that as well as getting the oh god, I've forgotten my own name. As well as getting the Kolnash Malak ready for bees tonight. I can get both put together tonight.
All right. You hear that, bees? Tonight you get the bee's knees. After
Okay.
Colton gets it all assembled.
I'll give you a basic rundown after it's assembled, bees, and you can begin practicing with it as soon as you want.
We'll watch you build it. The little bees that are
In that case, you'll need to get dressed and come with me, because I have to go to a workshop to build it.
We have to. Can't we
If you
just
want-
come like this? Says the little swarm.
Well, if you'd like to help out and get a hands-on experience, you'll need hands.
Okay.
Hill will rattle off like 3 workshops that he thinks might be functional for that purpose in the near vicinity, if Koltar needs it.
I'm assuming that at least one of those matches one of the ones I know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Strida and Jasira, who have sort of also walked over here. Jasira sort of looks at sort of analyzes the details. Definitely come prepared. This sounds familiar, in a bad way. I can't
Oh, really?
I can't put my finger on it, but it sounds. It's digging up old memories.
Should we be wary of any Svartalheim? Not Svartalheim.
Zarhemian.
Sorry,
Any Zarhemian influence aboard the ships?
Probably. Necromancy is a favored tactic of Sarheim beings.
He holds up his arm, well, then it's a good thing I'm already prepared. As the hand, you all watch as the hand like extends out a few extra inches, as all the joints of the fingers extend, and then the palm opens up, and an energy charge begins to prime, and then it just collapses back down.
Well, that's neat.
All right then.
Then I guess, Xander, are you staying back to monitor comms and help bees with communication to us? And Xander nods. Yeah. I'll also have some work to do on some guns. Maybe put something together that might be useful if you need it, if we have to do some more than one trip.
Xander,
And,
might ask you to assist in... Do you think you could apply your skills to enhancing mech-scale weaponry?
I mean, maybe not the kind that you mount on a vehicle. Well, I mean, maybe even them, actually. I could probably do some stuff,
Might have...
depending on the kind of gun.
If you'd like, you should come with me then.
And we'll also need to make sure we've got enough void-capable gear so that in case we don't have access to atmosphere through this whole thing, everybody's still mobile.
You know what? I probably won't be able to help you with the mech. We'll probably work on that later. I can build a few void suits for people. I'll work on that.
Good idea.
And Till will try and interface with Xander as well, looking for a void suit that will still give him access to his fly speed if possible.
Yep. Yep. I can build a void suit with a membrane for your wings.
Fantastic.
Remembering correctly that ethereals don't need access to atmosphere.
Yeah, you neither breathe nor like need to fear the cold. You don't need anything. You're good to just walk in space.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to double check.
You might need some form of propulsion if you get into a place where there is no like ground or gravity to push off of, but that's about it. Which you get the feeling that part of what Xander's working on will probably be some EVA units. So.
Yep. All right. Well then, let's get to work. We have a lot of things to put together. Bees, get dressed. You're coming with me.
You're muted, Craig.
Okay, we'll meet you there. And that swarm sort of cycles back off, which I think probably means back in the observation deck. Probably right about the time Kindle's getting there.
Yep. And we will pick up we'll pick up with that conversation.
Yeah.
Next time.
The hive armor is breaking out of the wall.
All right. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.